Hello everyone! Yes, the time has finally arrived. The video every collector loves to make. The game collection video. Or in my case it'll be videos, not video. So for the next little while, maybe a month or so, I'm going to be uploading a series of videos showing off my collection in its entirety. I'm going to be showing off each game I own for each system I own, and provide any purchase history I might have with said game or games. My original plan with the series was to also briefly give my thoughts on each game I own, but since I already have a video series solely dedicated to that, I feel it would be kind of redundant to just do that here as well. Regardless, I'm still probably going to want to blow my brains out by the end of this series, because it's going to take a long time to film all this, and maybe edit. So with this first video, since this will be the first set of collection videos I do, I wanted this to be like an introduction into this whole hobby of mine. I'm going to go into the origins of why I collect video games, as well as show off my game shelf and even my gaming setup before I dive right into my video game collection. This video is probably going to be a bunch of bullshit, but I want to provide some setup to these videos. Next time I do these videos, I'm not going to give this whole spiel of why I collect video games. I'm just going to show off my collection and then get right into it. Which, by the way, I think I'm going to do this sort of series every 5 years, because I guesstimate that's how long it's been since I started collecting video games. Okay, so now that's all laid out, let's get into why I started, and continue, to collect video games. It kind of started all the way back in 2012, early 2012 I think. The only current gen system I owned at the time was a Wii, and everything else I owned was either from the previous generation or older. So for the most part, the PS2 is my main system for gaming. This aspect is also why I'm into retro gaming, because for the longest time I could only play older games and not current ones. I still do today, but I feel less content about it now than I did back then. Anyways, since GameStop was like the only game store near me, I bought all my PS2 games there, as well as some GameCube games on certain occasions. Well, one day while in GameStop, I heard they would eventually be getting rid of all these PS2 era games. I noticed they already did that with the GameCube and Xbox games. This was way before their whole retro video game initiative they have now, mind you. And after hearing that, I kinda went into panic mode, because if I didn't buy my games physically now, I'd have to buy them online, which online shopping is fine, but when you're a kid that doesn't have a credit card or PayPal besides your mom's, that option isn't very viable. So every chance I got, with what little allowance I had, I would walk in there and try and buy as many PS2 games as I could. Which is why I own so many disc-only PS2 games. I'd literally walk in there with like $5 at a time and try to make the best of it, which usually meant only buying the disc. And I wasn't as big of a stickler on condition back then like I am today. So basically, when I started collecting, it was more like hoarding than collecting. I didn't even consider myself a collector at the time. It wasn't until some time later when I started watching some YouTubers that really got me into retro gaming and collecting. Probably the biggest influence for me was Metal Jesus Rocks. His Hidden Gems videos just showed me how many great retro games were out there that I didn't even know about, and they also kind of exposed me to the concept of collecting video games. And even smaller YouTubers like The 7th Level and Gexup, who's no longer around unfortunately, influenced me into this sort of lifestyle. I believe it was The 7th Level that opened me up to the concept that physical was always better than digital, which is why I generally try to get my games physically when I can. I don't have a problem going digital, but if there's a physical version that exists, I'd rather have that. It's better value, more likely to last forever than a digital download, and it looks nice displaying on my game shelf. And from then on, I adopted the lifestyle of a collector and continue to collect video games to this very day. Now to clarify what kind of collector I am, I don't have or plan to own any complete sets of consoles, meaning that I don't want every NES game ever made or every PS2 game ever made or anything like that. I suppose for as cool and impressive as it would be, I don't want all the bad games that come with it. I don't care how cheap most of them are. I play my games, they're not just a showpiece, so I don't want all that garbage clogging up my collection. I only collect games that either interest me or are supposedly good. The only bad games I might own are either very valuable, cheap, and possible review material, or interest me in some way. The only sort of console I would want every game in the library to would be something small like the Virtual Boy, but I'm not going to collect over 100 crappy games just to complete a library. That's just ridiculous. And another thing about me as a collector is, depending on the price, I'm willing to overlook condition. Generally, I like to buy my games complete and in good condition, and that's what I primarily seek out when I buy video games. But if I'm in a flea market or a yard sale, and they have this game that's disc only, has several scratches but no deep ones, comes in a shitty pre-owned GameStop case, has dirt, stickers on it, and is perhaps broken, like one of the latches doesn't close properly, if they're selling that game for $1, I will gladly take that game. Even if that game is something mega rare like Panzer Dragoon Saga, especially if it's something super rare like that game, because that's probably the only chance I'll be able to buy it and possibly play it, because trying to emulate games on Sega Saturn is kind of a nightmare. But depending on the price, and as long as the game works, I will buy that game in poor condition. Because, like I said, I'm all about playing my games, not just collecting them. Alright, I think that'll do it for providing a brief overview of me as a collector. Now we'll get into what most of you probably want to see, and that is my game collection. Okay, this is normally how my video game collection is set up. We're going to start off with the top shelf here, which I like to refer to as the PlayStation shelf, for obvious reasons. So we've got some PlayStation 1 games here, and then it kind of transitions into PlayStation 3. And then we've got this big box PS2 game, which is AC/DC Live. And the reason that's in the front is because all in the back there is nothing but PS2 games. Yes, I have 2 rows of PlayStation 2 games. It's ridiculous, I know. I mean, technically I could fit that in there, but I just had to remove some games and put it in its place. So I'm just keeping the box there because it's easier to move this big old box out of the way to get some of the games back there than having to move individual ones, you know? And of course we got this little guy up here, which is a Vault Boy bobblehead from the Fallout series. This is an energy weapons one. I've got another one down below, and yeah, they're pretty cool. They look exactly like the ones in the game, which is one of the main reasons why I got it. Plus I love the Fallout series, and yeah, it's pretty cool video game memorabilia in my opinion. And then the next shelf, I kind of refer to as a Nintendo shelf. Even though all my Nintendo stuff isn't here, it's still a majority of it. So we got some GameCube games here, and then some Wii Collector's Edition stuff. We got Epic Mickey Collector's Edition, and The Last Story Collector's Edition. And then this is the other Vault Boy bobblehead. This is the Melee Weapons one. And of course, all in the back here, we've got the Wii games, which is the second biggest in my collection, only being outnumbered by the PlayStation 2. But what's crazy about this one being second biggest is that, you know, in about like a year's time or something, I went from like having nothing, practically nothing on the Wii till it is having tons of games. Like it's, it's ridiculous. But after this shelf, things get a little more unorganized and not as neat looking as this. So on the next shelf, we've got some DS games here. Now we've got some loose cart DS games up here, and that's another pile over there. And in the back we've got some PC games. We got a big box PC game there. We got some other smaller box PC games. Some in some DVD cases and some CD cases. And that's my Nintendo DS carrying case, and those are some extra disc sleeves there. And really this whole pile here is just random game stuff. Some games I either have to get fixed or replaced, like Spider-Man 2 or Kill Switch, or games that I'm probably getting rid of, like Mushroom Man Spore Wars and Manhunt 2, because I already have better copies of them, so I'd probably just sell them. And yeah, that's just more extra disc sleeves in case I need them. And of course, there's some games which I don't really know if I'm gonna sell or keep or whatever, which is mainly just Resident Evil 4 here. The reason I'd get rid of it is because I have this on the Wii, and you know, that's a superior version. This is apparently the crappy version, and you know, I don't know if I'd want to keep it, but at the same time, you know, it's in nice condition, it's complete, so I don't know, I could always just hold on to it for, I don't know, for whatever. And that's pretty much it for that shelf. And then down here we've got my original Xbox games. as well as some composite cables for the Wii, which I still haven't opened. I don't really know why. And that's pretty much it with this shelf too. Some 3D glasses and some posters from games, and I mean, that's pretty much it. The rest is just kind of random junk. And then down below that's just some random movies and books and stuff that I have. You can see all the way in the back there some cheat code books. So yeah, that's cool, I guess. I don't really read them anymore because, you know, the internet. But they're kind of nice to have, especially back in the day. Now we've got my PlayStation 2 carrying case here, which as well as having some disc for my complete box ones. It also has disc-only ones in here, which I'm not going to go through on this video. I'm going to save all that for the PlayStation 2 video, but yeah, that's where I keep all my other PS2 games I don't have cases for. And then we've got some Wii Sports accessories here, which I've never really used, but probably get rid of one day, because I mean, I didn't really see the point in using them. And then we've got a Guitar Hero guitar here and an empty PS2 box for my PS2 in case I ever need to box it away or if I'm moving or something. And then we get into my actual gaming setup here, which in this backpack, in this backpack over here, we've got Sega Saturn, which the reason it's in the backpack is because I don't have any AV cables or a controller for it, so I can't really hook it up. And I also don't really have any games for it yet, so there's no point in hooking it up. But a good reason is because I don't have AV cables or a controller. So when I get those things, I'll probably get more Saturn games, or I'll try to. But it's also in a backpack to try and keep dust off of it, since I can't really hook it up, and I don't just want it sitting there getting dust and stuff. So yeah. And then this other backpack here is just a broken fat model PS3, and it got the yellow out of death, and I just haven't gotten it fixed. And I don't know, may get rid of it, may sell it for parts, I want to try and get it fixed, but if that doesn't work out, may just have to get rid of it somehow. But at least for the time being, hello, I have this other fat model PS3, which plays both PS1 and PS2 games, and I think it has 80 gigabytes worth of storage, so that's pretty cool. And this one is definitely reliable. I played 200 hours in Fallout 3 on this one, so safe to say this was pretty reliable console compared to the other one, you know? Although I'd still like to get a PS3 Slim to kind of replace this one. And then we've got some controllers. We got the PlayStation 3 controller, got my original Xbox controller, and we got a PS2 controller. But then this is where I generally just put all my AV cables for original Xbox, Wii, and all the other consoles. Then I plug them into that thing there, which plugs into my TV. And speaking of TVs, it might be 2017, but I'm still rocking a fat TV like it's 2001. Yeah, I don't own a flat screen TV whatsoever, just this big old thing. But you know, that's fine, because I mean, this sort of TV is not bad for older games like PlayStation 1 and even PlayStation 2 games, because a fair amount of them don't run widescreen or 720p. But even so, if I were to get a flat screen, I'd still keep this around, maybe as a backup, I guess. But I think especially for playing older games on it. It's a Philips TV, if that means anything. You know, it's been pretty good so far, pretty reliable. Hasn't give out on me yet, and hope it doesn't, at least anytime soon. And there's a Wii sensor bar, you know, nothing special there. And then down here, we've got my actual consoles, which I got towels over them to keep dust off of them, using that metal Jesus technique of keeping dust off your consoles. But I'll remove them so you guys can actually see them. Okay, So that right there is my PS2. It's a regular fat model, it's not a slim. And on top of here we've got a 4-player hookup, which you plug this into the controller port and allows 4 people to play a PS2 game as opposed to just 2, because this PS2 only has 2 controller ports out the box. And then we got a red Wii, which is pretty cool. I like my red Wii. And then we got the original Xbox over here, which pretty interesting story. I paid like $10 for this at GameStop. This woman was trying to trade it in, and GameStop wouldn't take it. And I told her that I would buy it, and she said that she'd give it to me for $10. And yeah, so I got a pretty good deal on it. Even though I had to buy a little. Hang on, let me grab this thing. Where the heck is it? I'm trying to show the controller link for the original Xbox part. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I didn't have this thing that plugged into the original Xbox controller, so I couldn't use the controller. So I had to buy that, which is like $5, and then I had to also get a new power cord because I confused the PS2 cord with the original Xbox one, and I think that cost $5 as well. So we spent a little more than like $10 overall on the system, but still we got a pretty good price on it, I'd say. I mean, it also came with the free game because they still had Halo 1 in the disc tray, and it amazingly worked even though it was scratched to hell. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now the Wii I got for Christmas, and PS2 was also a Christmas thing. I should probably have mentioned that too. But that's pretty much all my consoles. And then over here we got a little stuff. We got my Wiimote, which a little dusty, but got a little plastic cover on it. And then we've got silicone stuff that I'd usually put over it. We got a rechargeable battery there. Got a little thing for recharging my batteries. And we got the power strip where I plug in all my shit. And I usually keep this one free for my phone charger for when I need to charge it, because I usually keep my phone next to me when I play games, either to listen to stuff or to check the time and things like that. And then in here, under all these towels, got my controllers, which I'm not going to go through all the controllers because I don't really have any special controllers in here. They're just, plain old controllers. But those are my other rechargeable batteries, but those don't work. I only have the one good one left. I'd have to get those replaced, or I suppose fix them somehow. But I guess that'll do it for this game room tour video, I guess you could call it. Even though it's not really much of a game room, it's just video game shelf and some consoles, but hey, I still think it's all pretty cool. Anyways, I'll quit talking now and end this video here. And a few things I forgot to mention while showing off my game collection and gaming setup. The chair I'm currently sitting in right now is my gaming chair. This is a 1960s era chair, I think. It's kind of leather-like, and it also rocks back and forth, but I can't really rock it right now because I kind of have it, stuck in place so it's not moving around while I'm on camera. But yeah, it's a pretty good chair. It's pretty comfy. I like it. It's good $20 we paid for it, so definitely a good deal on this. And as for the Sega Saturn, I kind of mentioned before, didn't really provide any my history with buying that one either, like I did with my Xbox and my Wii and that stuff. I didn't do my PS3 either, but I think I'll just save that for the PS3 video. But for my Sega Saturn, I got this at a flea market from this woman that was selling it for $15, which at first it was like $20 for this and this disc-only PS2 game I had, which I think was Warriors Orochi. I think that was the name of the game. But I guess because I started looking online just to make sure I was getting a good deal on this thing, and I was about to pay the $20 for that and the disc-only game, but apparently I don't know, I kind of stressed that woman out or something. She got worried that I wasn't gonna buy it or something. And then she's like, well, how about 15 for both that game and this? And then I was just like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Because at the time when I was looking, like, just the system alone on these things was like going for 30 bucks online. So, I mean, just 20 bucks for both those things would have been a good deal. But I got both of them for 15 bucks, so that's pretty good. That's all I wanted to share, so, yeah, I guess, like I said, I'll end this video here. I'll see you in the next one.